S42, war number 9, and we're up against CHÂØŞ, which was actually the name of my cat that I used to have. This time my team will be Tigra, Valkyrie and future Ant-Man. The plan was for me to take Path 5 in Section 1, as well as Zemo on the shared fight there on the hazard shift node. Then in Section 2 I was gonna be taking Path 7, as well as that Gorr and Absorbing Man on the shared fights. And for the boss island, I was gonna be taking all the right side mini-bosses. But not everything goes according to plan. More on that in just a little bit. Up first we have an Annihilus on the Ebb and Flow knockdown and right back at it node. I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie, and the game plan is pretty simple. I'm just gonna be hitting him, building up my buffs, getting to my special 2, then knocking him down with a heavy attack to remove the Ebb and Flow protection, and then nuking him down with that special 2, and maybe a few more combos into the block afterwards, depending on if he's still standing or not. The Pierce allows me to completely bypass the Unstoppable if he gets it, and the Bulwark buff there increases my chance to shrug off non-damaging debuffs, meaning that the armor breaks and stifle debuffs he inflicts whenever he touches me, they have a higher chance of getting shrugged off. Now, shrugging off the debuffs isn't really necessary because I bypass the Unstoppable from the stifle debuffs anyways, but it's good to have it just because it increases the special 2 damage a little bit. I didn't bother building up too many of them because, well, this fight doesn't need it. The health pools are small enough and Annihilus isn't really that tanky at all. Plus the Ebb and Flow protection gave me that nice passive fury on top of my own. And next up we have an Elsa Bloodstone on the Ebb and Flow knockdown and heavy hitter nodes. I'm taking this fight with future Ant-Man, mainly because of the attacker tactic, and well, the game plan is to just get to my special 2, knock her down with a heavy attack, and then drop the special 2 while the power detonation is active, and she will either be dead or close to it. A very simple fight. As long as I don't mess up and start eating hits, I should be finishing this fight at basically full health. Elsa Bloodstone as a defender isn't too difficult unless she for some reason has a bleed on her, but on the Ebb and Flow node here, even if she started with the recoil masteries and she had a bleed, the Ebb and Flow protection would shrug off the bleed debuff at the very start of the fight, meaning that it wouldn't do anything. You would not be getting the degeneration to start with. Now, as I said, this fight is very simple as long as you don't screw it up, but I like screwing up my fights for some reason, so I just had to get comboed at the very end before my final few hits to finish the fight, and I lost over 30% of my health, so a few potions down the drain. I am rushing this a little bit so that I can open up Ebony Maw for whoever is taking it, so that we can open up Section 2 before they go to bed. Now, this fight right here is a Zemo on the Hazard Shift, Incinerate and Shock node. I'm taking it with future Ant-Man, and I have Odin's shock resistance pre-fight here, along with the aptitude and protection as well. Only the shock resistance is needed, so that I can deal with both the Incinerate and the shock debuffs from the Hazard Shift node, and that basically makes this fight very easy to deal with. The game plan here is to just get my special 2, drop it while the power detonation is active, and then repeat until the opponent falls. I will not be building up any of the disintegration debuffs, because Zemo here would just cleanse them, and I don't want him doing that. So whenever I do drop a special 2 with the power detonation active, I do my best to bait a special 1 from Zemo straight after, so that they don't let the power detonation expire, triggering the disintegration debuff. So the biggest issue with this fight would be if Zemo became passive and started building up those prowesses, gaining power from the defense tactic and getting to a special 2 or special 3. But since future Ant-Man makes the defender very aggressive, there is no risk of him doing that. So now just a hit or 2, down he goes in just over a minute. A very simple fight for future Ant-Man, and he is probably one of the, if not the best option for it. Alright, and at this point we learned that this war will not count for the season. whatever happens, this war doesn't happen, no stats will be counted, so if I die here, nothing happens. If we solo everything, it doesn't make a difference. We lose, we win, the season is unaffected. So, change of plans, I'm going for a full boss rush. I'm taking this Ebony Maw along with everything else along the way up to the boss. So, here we have an Ebony Maw on the Scared Stiff and Power Focus 2 node. I'm taking this fight with Tigra, and I'm only boosted a little bit. I have the medium boosts active because I had some expiring, and then I just threw on a 6-hour health boost as well. Just because I didn't exactly want to die to these fights for this war video, so that I could at least have some content out of this. So basically, as we all know, I hate fighting Ebony Maw, so I was a little bit worried about this fight and I wouldn't have taken it if this war would count. And the plan is to just bait and punish special 1s with my heavy, get to my special 2 and nuke him down with that. Ebony Maw's health pool isn't too big, so a single special 2 and maybe a few more heavies afterwards usually does the job, and this one goes down without any issues. And this is something that I might be able to do even with wars that do count, but I am still a bit on edge about taking Maws because of my history with him. I just keep dying to him for some reason, even with proper counters. Then next up we have an Absorbing Man on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed node, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie. Game plan here is the same as usual. I'm only gonna be hitting the Defender's block, building up both the Pierce and the Bulwark boss, getting to my special 2, and then just nuking the Defender down with that, and possibly a few more hits into the block. I was a little bit worried I wouldn't be able to solo this one, since, like I said, I am not heavily boosted at all, and the only few times I've taken this guy, I've had on full big boy boosts. So this is also a great experiment to see what kinda damage output you need to take down Absorbing Man, since the biggest issue with him is the regen. So I was excited to see if the damage output on Valkyrie with just medium boosts would be enough to deal with him. Although this isn't exactly a mini-boss node, so the health pool isn't as high as it could be, but even then, just knowing if this was doable would be very helpful in the future. So I'm just about getting to my third Bulwark buff here in a second. I should bait that special 1 from him before dropping the special 2, but I figured I'd just go for it, since he's already below 50% and the special 2 hits very hard. And he goes down before the special 2 is even over. Fight didn't even last a minute and a half, and that was quite a perfect fight. I think that was faster than when I used Valkyrie before there with full boosts, so I'm very happy with that one. And then we have a Doctor Doom on the second wind unblockable and power creep node. I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie as well. I considered taking this with Tigra just for content, but then I figured, well, I didn't really want to die and I do have a couple Tigra fights left, so I didn't want to have her at 40% with the revive, so Valkyrie it is. Game plan here would usually be to only hit into Doom's block and do it the slow way, but since we are taking risks today, might as well just go full aggro, hit him a bunch, give him some power, bait the special 2 if necessary, and then just once again get to my special 2, drop it into the block, and then see what happens afterwards. Doom himself is a very easy Valkyrie fight to deal with, as long as you're good at dexing his special 1 and you just remember to not touch him until the aura falls off, and then you're good. So before dropping my special 2 here, I do just that. I bait the special 1, wait out the aura, because I really didn't want him to throw the special 1 while my special 2 Fury was active and wasted time on that. So I figured this would be the better thing to do. And the fight goes down without any issues. 1 minute, around 20 seconds. Very simple for Valkyrie, no real risks there. And yes, I know, wasting units on a war that doesn't count, but I just wanted to get these fights down in a single run here, so I wouldn't have to wait for energy at all. So next up we have a Kate Bishop on the second wind unblockable and make a stand node. I'm taking this fight with future Ant-Man, and the plan is very simple once again. Just get the special 2, wait for the power detonation, then drop it, and that's about it. Now to get rid of the make a stand protection, I bait Kate Bishop's heavy attack and punish it with my heavy. The spacing for that is very simple, you just dash back once and throw your heavy. That's all there is to it. It's very easy, and basically any champion can do it. So the only real issue with this fight normally would be that if you parry her and try to hit her, she will evade and stun you passively, but you can get your heavies in by punishing her heavy like that, making her a very simple defender even on that node. Then we have a Gorr on the make a stand, and when I open nodes, I'm taking this fight with Tigra, and without boosts, this fight was a little bit more worrying than normally. But hey, it's a cosmic champion with a ton of buffs, with Tigra, who just melts cosmics, so there shouldn't be any real issues. I'm gonna be baiting and punishing his special 1 with my heavy attack. The spacing for that is to just dash back 4 times when he throws it, and then hold your heavy attack. You will be able to punish it consistently without any issues. So the original plan was to get to my special 2 to nuke him down, but the fight didn't exactly allow me to do that. I threw a couple special 1s to start with, finished it off with a special 2, but even then it was a clean fight. Not the fastest one, but no complaints there. It could have gone a lot worse. And now, instead of taking the right side mini-bosses, I'm going to the left, because someone else wanted to try out a couple of the mini-bosses on the right side with their team, so that they could be prepared for them if they need to take them in the future. So this fight right here is a Hulkling on the power efficiency and missing in action mini-boss node. So the game plan here is to start the fight with a parry, or otherwise find an opening, hit him at least once to trigger the neutralize, then bait and punish his heavy attack with your heavy to build up Ruptures and get more power, get your special 2, throw it, and the fight should be over. Even now with barely boosting, this fight went down with a single special 2, and yeah, that's about all there is to say about that one. Then next up we have a fight that I was very interested in trying out. A Korg on the Hazard Shift, Incinerate and Poison mini-boss node. And I'm taking this fight with future Ant-Man. This fight starts off horrible. I don't think I played this bad in a very long time, but well, we'll see what happens. So basically the main issue here is that during the poison phase I need to avoid touching him, because future Ant-Man has no protection at all against poison. But the issue with that is that the Surging Swarm on future Ant-Man makes the defender more aggressive, meaning I can't really play time as easily as I usually do by doing the light whiff in the air, because the defender simply won't dash back. So that caused some issues to start with, along with me just playing bad, missing intercepts and all that good stuff. So I basically start this fight at around 35%, and now I just gotta take him down without getting comboed again, because I don't really wanna die here. Basically I'm using this fight as an experiment to see if this matchup is actually doable, or rather if it's reasonable to take during an important war, for example, since sometimes some fights on, or some defenders on this specific node can be very annoying to fight an attacker for, especially if they are the defense tactic champions. So far, now that I've actually stopped sucking in this fight, it has gone very well. He's down to about 30%, I'm still at the same percentage that I was after my special 3, so I have done this comeback very well here. On my special 2, he goes down less than 2 minutes, and yeah, I would say that that is a successful test. And then for the final fight of this war, I will be trying out a Quicksilver boss with both the Aspect of Evolution and Brute Force links up with Valkyrie. Now going in, I am not expecting a solo at all. Aspect of evolution makes him hit harder, gain more power, become tankier. Basically all of his stats go up, and brute force means that I can't only hit into his block to avoid the resistance buffs from stacking up, meaning the opportunist node will also make him hit harder, so the longer this fight takes, the more difficult it becomes, and even a single mistake can cause me to die here. So the plan was to start the fight off by building up both the Pierce and the Bulwark buffs, especially the Bulwarks, so that I could shrug off the Whiplash debuffs whenever I get them. But starting the fight that horribly by getting hit, I kinda lost control and I couldn't ramp up the Bulwarks. I don't know, I should have still tried it early on, but at this point I've already messed up. The solo is basically impossible unless I play like a god. But like we see here, I'm still making mistakes. I'm missing the full decks of the special 2 decks, and I am doing quite a bit of damage with my special 2s here, but it's not gonna be enough. He goes for the evade there, because I tried to intercept him, or rather punish his double medium too early. Went straight for a special 1, which was unblockable, which took another chunk of health out of my health bar, and then I just kinda messed up at the end anyways. So, I mean, I took him down to 40% with that, so I would say Valkyrie does work, or at least would work if the boss node wasn't linked, so that might be something I will be attempting properly at a later date. But for now, that's all we have for this war. I did go back in and finish the fight, but it took a couple revives because, well, I kinda just threw my team at it to see what happens. And like I said, we're not tracking our deaths here, so none of what happened this war makes a difference. As for the results, we did end up winning the war because our opponents lost on purpose by not clearing their BGs. Because I guess they wanted to lower the war rating to get easier opponents for the rest of the season, but yeah, I don't really like doing that.